Health authorities in India say the country has now exceeded 4 million coronavirus cases. Nearly 2 million new infections were recorded last month alone. India has the third highest total worldwide, behind the U.S. and Brazil. Even so, restrictions in India have been eased as the government pushes to reopen the economy. Only the worst-hit areas are still under lockdown. Well, for more, we're joined now by DW correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal, who's in Delhi. Hello to you, Nimisha. So, a grim milestone, 4 million infections in India. As we said, it's the third highest national total in the world, but closing in on Brazil. And yet we're hearing that lockdown restrictions are being lifted. Do most people in the country support this government policy?
Well, Mariana, it is safe to say yes, actually, because if you step out in cities like New Delhi and Bombay, you will see crowds out and about that in no way indicate numbers of 4 million infections of a highly infectious disease. Lockdown restrictions have almost completely been lifted. Yes, some high density places are still not open, but most shops, markets, gyms are back on track. Even schools and colleges, there are plans to start reopening them by the end of the month. The people seem to agree with the government's belief that India must learn to live with the coronavirus, that the economic slowdown caused by the lockdown cannot be afforded. So there is perhaps a lockdown fatigue that is encouraging people to come out and say, this is life now, we have to move on.
Well, as the restrictions are being eased, we know, as you mentioned, students are going back to the university, and hundreds of thousands of students are also being told to go ahead with their exams. But how safe can that be? You did send us a report. Let's have a look.
Examinations during a pandemic. While schools and colleges remain closed as India records the highest daily rise in cases in the world, these students are appearing for a crucial test. And it's testing like never before. Masks assigned at the exam center, constant sanitization, and repeated calls for social distancing. Parents and students here are reassured by these measures. They say they cannot afford to lose any more time to the pandemic.
All the candidates were trying hard to give this exam, but yeah, it was okay because as all the safety measures were taken, so that it was okay to give the exam during the pandemic.
They could have conducted this exam in April. The caseload was low then, but they pushed it to July and now this. They can't afford any more delays.
Yet, not everyone has been this enthusiastic about the tests. Many of the competitive exams held every year in India have faced stiff opposition this time. Students have protested online against the risks they say they are being forced to take and have even approached the Supreme Court. Students took to social media to trend the hashtag Rise Against Exams in COVID. While the Supreme Court has rejected their demands, students say forcing them to appear for the exams is cruel. Pavni Agarwal, an aspiring doctor, is expected to travel 150 kilometers next week to her test center. She hasn't stepped out in 5 months and is terrified to do so. She heard rumors over social media that another exam led to dozens of COVID-19 deaths.
I know many students whose parents are asking them to skip exams this year. It is far too risky to go for them. Nothing is decided for me either. My family is scared. They don't know whether I should go for this exam or not.
Opposition parties have taken up the cause as well. They accuse the Modi government of being anti-student. Protesters insist they don't want the exams cancelled, but simply postponed until it is safer.
We are sharing the concern of the students of the entire country and their parents. Because opposition said government already given a request to the Prime Minister of India to postpone this examination for time being.
These students, however, intend to get on with their plans. They say their careers will have to be formed within this new normal.
All right, Nimisha, as you reported, it seems like a lot of students want to get on with their exams and get on with their lives, and others are more cautious. But do you feel that most students do just want to get on with it? What do the majority of students think?
Well, Mariana, it's difficult to place a clear majority in either camp because, on the one hand, you have hundreds of thousands of students turning out every day to take these exams, including today. Over a fortnight, over 2 million people, over 2 million aspirants are expected to appear for these exams. And we saw students and parents saying, we've already almost wasted a semester. We do not want to waste an academic year. Let's just go on ahead. But on the other hand, we cannot deny that there have been massive online protests, that the opposition has taken up this cry as well. In fact, just yesterday, the Supreme Court of India shot down an opposition request to postpone these exams. But perhaps students and parents are falling in line with the general sentiment that this is life now and we must continue operating despite the pandemic.
Well, one glimmer of hope, perhaps, is that despite the alarming rise in infections, the fatality rate, in fact, remains rather low. It's about 2%. Do we know why that is?
Well, there are theories, Mariana, no definitive proof yet, but one factor that experts seem to be citing is that India does have a younger population than many of the developed countries that have not done as well, and that in senior age groups, India is actually comparable, the fatality rate is comparable to the countries which suffered more. We also have theories about what is called cross-reactivity. Basically, countries like India have high exposure to other coronaviruses, which may actually help people fight off this strain of coronavirus better. But of course, further studies are required to truly find out what is the reason behind the fatality rate. Also, critics say that the fatality rate may be underestimated in case there's undercounting of deaths.
Nimisha Jaiswal reporting for us from Delhi. Many thanks indeed.